4 cups. Okay? In the Passover meal, there were 4 cups of wine. The first was called the Kedusah cup, which Jesus and the disciples drank as normal. Then they had the second cup, which was the cup of proclamation, which they all drank as normal. What was really significant was what happened between the second and the third cups. What they ate between these 2 cups normally was the Passover lamb, which had been roasted and in a crucified form. The lamb was sacrificed in the temple, drained of all blood, and put between 2 sticks in a form of a cross. They had the unleavened bread, and they had the bitter herbs. The Passover meal was a reenactment, what was called an anamnesis, a reenactment of a past event as if that was happening again that night. They were meant to commemorate the escape from Egypt, the exodus from Egypt. So the Passover lamb represented the lamb's blood that was painted over the lintels of the houses of the Hebrews that spared them from death from the angel of death. Hence Passover. The angel of death passed over the houses of the Hebrews, and hence the word Passover. The unleavened bread represented how quick they had to escape from Egypt. They didn't have time to cook the bread properly. And the bitter herbs represented remembering how bitter their 400 years in Egypt was. Jesus, the scholars tell us they're not sure whether in this Passover meal Jesus and the disciples ate the roasted lamb. They would have in the previous Passovers they celebrated. I believe most probably they didn't eat the Passover lamb in this meal because Jesus was supplying a new Passover lamb. When he took the bread, the unleavened bread, and he said, "Take, eat, this is my body," etc. They would have eaten the bitter herbs, there's no doubt about that. Then Jesus took the third cup, which St. Paul in 1 Corinthians 10 identifies correctly as the cup of blessing. And it's this cup that Jesus said, "Take and drink, this is my blood," etc. Normally, they would then sing 5 psalms, or 6. Psalms 113 to 118, the Hallel psalms. But Mark's Gospel tells us they then left this room, they went to Gethsemane, singing these psalms, the Hallel psalms, on the way to Gethsemane. So Jesus did not complete the Passover meal as per normal in this room. They never drank the 4th cup, which was the cup of finish, or the consummation cup, or otherwise known as the cup of praise. What happens? Jesus is transforming this memorial meal into a new event, not remembering an old Exodus, but affecting a new Exodus. Jesus is arrested, Jesus is put on trial, Jesus is mocked, Jesus is scourged, Jesus is crucified. Jesus is now on the cross. And between these 2 cups, the presider was not meant to drink any wine. That's why Jesus, when he was first offered wine as an anesthetic, before he was crucified, did not drink it. When Jesus was on the cross, he said what? Many things. He said, "I thirst." And then they put a sponge of vinegar, bad wine, on the spear, and they gave it to him to drink, and this time he drank it. And when he drank it, he said what? "It is finished." Correct, because the presider over the Passover meal, when they drank the 4th cup, said, "It is finished." Jesus all has now transformed. You connect the Last Supper to the crucifixion. It's a new event that affects the new Exodus. This was the true mission of the Messiah, not to be that warrior king like David or Judas Maccabeus to drive out the Romans and establish a visible kingdom. But the Messiah was meant to be a new Moses, to provide a new manna. What's the new manna? Here, the Eucharist, for a new Exodus, escaping from what? Not Egypt, but sin, to a new promised land, not Jerusalem or Judea or Samaria, but the heavenly kingdom. That's what Jesus did in the Last Supper, connected to the crucifixion. This was the authentic mission of the Messiah that only a small percentage of Jews had a vision of and realized at the time. And most of us as Catholics don't realize this. Where did I pick this up from? I read last year a book by a new rising American scholar named Dr. Brant Petrie. He's a young man, he's very dynamic, and he's got a book called The Jewish Roots of the Eucharist. It's an amazing book, it's an easy read. I could not put it down. I was actually walking the streets reading it, that's how good. But anyway, I hope you appreciate that. It's something very significant and central to our faith.